Regular guys. I would I would not speak for so long time, but here is the speakers today as a starting speaker of the 5th February is Peter Gribanov. He's employed at 1C. He will introduce himself, but I think he will tell us about the mother company, the establishing company 1C, and what does it make for 1C people from the point of view of Postgres. Actually, Peter is willing to start our section, and I think it has a logic inside of it, because 1C is a vending company, so I think we can start. So great applause. Greetings, dear colleagues. Good morning. I want to tell you about the boundaries between Postgres and 1C. So, banal things. 1C is understandable for anyone. I think the majority of people will say that this is accounting, teaching, training programs, soft audio books, but we are here representing business, and me as a representative of the development, we can say that we are not developing business soft per se, but the means to develop business soft. It's very easy, it's very scalable, and on the basis of this means for the development, we are producing our software. And it's very different from the individual enterprises or small bookkeeping to our CRM, HRM, RPs with tens of thousands of users at the same time. Correspondingly, if you take the biggest market, it is the ERP market. In the money, we are on the second place after the SAP, but our licenses costs twice or three times less than SAP licenses. This means that we are taking 85% of the ERP market. And Microsoft, that takes the third place in Russia, it has 131,000 people, 54,000 people in SAP, and this is business software consulting. And at us, in head enterprise, we have 1,200 people for the whole stuff. It's just an infographics. For Russia, we have 1.5 million of enterprises and state agencies that use our soft or our platform. We have 5 million end users of our soft. 300,000 of the developers use our platform for development of products, and we are 1,200 people. So we have 1,300 applications, of which we know the code, and it corresponds to our guidelines. And I think there are many more in-house or not scalable applications that are written for yourself. Why is it like this? It's because from N77 we've chosen the right paradigm of the development. Just an example. Take one simple task. You need to automatize selling and enter the information on the sold goods into the database with the customer, with the timestamp, and with the goods. So we have a setting, and in the end we should have the program. What is the classical development? You need to write down a class in English, then make a project of a database, so two tables actually. One table is regular and one table is market, quantity, and sum. Then we are designing the user's interface. You can introduce the documents, and you should have a list of documents. Then we combine it, and in the end we have the business soft. So this is the classical development 20 years ago. And for some reasons it is made like this today. But we then suddenly understood that the majority of tasks, so 20 to 80 rate, 80% of tasks can be tackled by 20% of forces. And we've created a system for a business software that makes it very easy to create a business software. When we say that we need something new in the system creates a small list of what shall be done in it. In our process it will be a document, then in the graphic wizard in master we are writing down the fields of the document, then the table, and that's all. Then we create the program, and the program is done. And in the end, in the 80 or 90% of all cases, what system does, automatically generating of database default interfaces, the majority of users are happy with this. So therefore, we have a very high speed of the development and a low entrance cost of the product. So the minuses are also here. In this approach, you cannot create anything else. You cannot create a 3D shooter, but still, we have a plus-minus business soft that is very different. As the practice shows, the ERP typical user who has its own development facilities creates 10 or 20 of the programs of the developments, and the partners make 20 to 30 solutions from the partners. And the part of the solutions is just a customization. With 1C, we have the same thing. We have 20 flagship solutions, but we are a very small company, 1,200 people. And our partners create more than 1,300 solutions from partners, and they are written from zero, from ground. And this shows that this is our main paradigm. We are still developing it. We did not know about low-code, no-code when we started, modern dream development, and so on. But the thing that we managed to face in a concept is a part of this new concept. We're making many things in platform, automatics. And from the point of view of the development, we've created some changes. Windows, out of the source code we created for Linux and macOS. And it is just working along in a browser with our JavaScript without any source code alterations. And for some years ago, we created the possibility to create mobile apps for iOS, Android, and Windows Mobile. I will skip some slides with the pluses and minuses that I already told you. So the low entrance burden. If you don't have any program background or 1C background, you can study 2-3 weeks and then understand how you can tackle the small tasks. And then you are studied it and you are well trained. But this is a case of a platform, but not a business solutions. And the majority of our partners are creating the source codes, and this means that we can customize it and we can borrow ideas and borrow code for our solutions. And the development tools are granted for free. And this platform approach, when everything is made, almost everything is made by the platform, by this layer between business code and the database management system, it allows just for you to go to the new platform and understand new functionalities and receive new tools from us. One more example, it is the Mac OS and Postgres Pro support. The development can be made in two views. The first is configurator instrument. It was for a long time the only instrument for the development. You can work with English or with Russian script. You can create a development for PC web client or for mobile application, or perhaps a universal, but I did not see any universal solution so far for PC. I think 2 or 3 years ago we've got to manage the second tool, enterprise development tools, the Eclipse. And I think Eclipse is one of the most popular open source code possibility to create application, and Eclipse is a part of an open source, open community, and you could make the development in Java, in C++, and also domain-specific languages, like, for example, development for controllers of microschemes in pseudo-graphic regime, when you just make blueprints of it. So we were thinking how to be developed as a configurator, and in the end we've managed to choose Eclipse. And here we have many positive things. Control versions, Git is supported out of the box, and there are many plugins for Eclipse. This instrument needs no additional licensing, and one of more additional thing here, what is not present in configurator, this is the possibility to write down the plugins for the development. When the developer is writing for himself a set of plugins which automatize their routine operations. Here you can see a type of a plugin, a very great thing, as from my point of view. This is a diagram of configuration between the entities, and here as a scheme you can see the documents and registers in a certain configuration. And this configurator needed this for huge projects when new people come into the team and they need to understand the system and understand the combination of entities, and this is a part out of the box solution. In runtime, once the enterprise is a platform virtual machine that runs or executes our configurations, and this virtual machine gives actions for three essences: database, server of applications, and clients, when you can see the data in the end. Databases are any business like SQL Server, Oracle, Ubuntu, and Postgres that I mentioned to say on the 14th minute of my delivery. And we have also a file system for data management for 5 or less users. Servers are a group of clusters in the scheme of active reserve, and you can mix up the servers for Windows and Linux, and we are doing this and our partners are doing this. And as a client we support the executing client, a native client for Windows, Linux, macOS that can work through the local network and through the web service. Web client that executes inside of the browser. There are 5 the most popular browsers support, and there is a thick client with reverse compatibility that can execute a part of business logic, but it has a drawback: it cannot work through the internet. And mobile client for Android, iOS, and Windows. And mobile technologies allow us to make 2 types of clients that store the data on the hardware and synchronizes with the server, and live online client that needs a steady connection to the database. And for a majority of solutions, this backend mobile client should be only 1C, but for the majority of solutions it is made out of the box, so you can create mobile places. We have also cloud solution 1C Fresh. That one part, the whole is made in the cloud, and we are selling it on the model of SAP. You can rent cloud and you don't at us, but not post the cloud at your facilities. And our partners are developing their own solutions or in huge organizations and holdings. A couple of words to Fresh. It's a horizontal scalable network that runs our applications, and when there are more users you can just add a server and reconfigure the system. Postgres. We're working with Postgres from 2006, and starting from the time when we started to support the Linux, and we were just thinking about between MySQL and Postgres, and out of the open source database management, Postgres is the most compatible with enterprises. We are entered into contract partnership with Postgres from 2016, and in April 2017 we supported the Postgres professional version. There are 3 key directions of work between 1C and Postgres products. The first one, and we are using actively our Postgres in our cloud service and on our servers. The second is the use of our partners by our partners of Postgres, and we also use Postgres as a system for data management on our server. Fresh. Is this the classical SAC? We are granting access to more than 10 of our solutions on Fresh as a part of service on Fresh. And if earlier we've got no additional powers, we were working with SQL or with Windows, then we understood that we could work with Linux, CentOS, and Postgres. Tens of Postgres systems we have in our cloud. They are better than SQL. And this is just a part of recommendations. You will later receive my presentation and you can study it a bit later. But speaking about the introduction, along with our huge cloud server, the InfoStart before PGConf starts a questionnaire on market shares for introduction, and Postgres is taking the second place, but it's still less than MS SQL. And this year we had a very interesting dynamics in the InfoStart issue, and you can see that the file database management systems are falling. The people are leaving them, but due to this fall, Postgres is not showing growth, but SQL is showing growth. And on the web you can find more information for this, but when 1C was not very good working with Postgres, many clients were afraid to make this, and they started to work with MSSQL, and now they are planning, perhaps not so eagerly, to go to Postgres. But still, Postgres is bigger and bigger, and this will dominate the market. What is the peculiarity with work? We have our own task language. It is similar unlike SQL. It is translated to SDBL. It's our internal structured database language, and the corresponding library translates it to the dialect SQL. How can we make the intercommunication between 1C and Postgres better? We are monitoring queries. We see the productivity and work with tables and so on. We to create temporary tables in the scheme of pgtemp to make the speed up, and we are working in the development of Postgres 1C, and we're now producing the fork for 1C from SQL. Everything, this information you can find in the documents. This is the page where you can see that in 2017 we created our own version, and we're still creating it, PostgreSQL from 1C. And everything that we're making for Postgre to work better with 1C, we are sharing this with Postgre Professional and with a huge Postgre community, and at the end of the day, all of our developments are part of a code base of the general product. Here in the product description we have special patches, and you can see here the description of patches, that we have a better realization of time of queries and on entering of the data into the journal of database management system. And this Postgres out of the box cannot optimize this for now, but we do. But if you have a huge project with Postgre and you see some problems with it, we are very interested in this information. Please contact us, and we are ready to help you for free, and we are sharing our expertise with you.
Well, starting from 100. All of these can be discussed. 50 is interesting as well. So we're moving on to questions and answers session. Everyone got interested in the word for free. Hello. On the original of 1C, can you provide some support for PostgreSQL implementation? Well, we can have some impact on it, and if it's possible to tune VPN, we don't really want to come to the customer side because it's quite expensive, but if you stream VPN to Moscow, it's possible to do it remotely, so you can write to this email address. And finally, I'd like to say a few words about 1C and Postgres. This is interaction system. A dream of every software manufacturer is that the user spends as much time as possible in their software. And we realized that we really need to have a messenger in our business software because people have to use Telegram, Skype, or Viber and send screenshots to discuss some business issues. So we realized that we needed a messenger, so we implemented it several years ago. This is an interaction system. It has the functionality of a regular messenger with chats, calls, and opportunity to transmit files, and also we provided for IP program. It's possible to write scripts and chatbots that facilitate the work of the system and fulfill routine operations. And they also provide some solutions. This is a very powerful initiative. So, these are normal discussions regarding configurations and solutions of 1C that are connected to interaction servers. You can see the tab discussion, so you can have a discussion devoted to a specific issue. Context discussion, this is also very valuable when we see a document in a system, a reference book. It also has a tab discussion, and this tab is attached to the specific document. So within this document we can ask the responsible manager, for example, why a customer has this discount in this document, and when the manager receives a request, they will see similar documents, so they will not have to look for it in the system. Interaction system, what else is good? The users of various 1C solutions can talk to each other transparently. So if we have several solutions, ERP, for example, accounting and document flow, all of them can be connected to one interaction service. So these people will be able to discuss some business issues. Interaction system server. In this case, we provide our online server, this is interaction server, and we sell, well, now it's for free, and now it is supplied in the box. For example, if due to security reasons a company doesn't want its business negotiations to be stored in a cloud, but it wants to have it in its center, it's possible to do it. Everything is done on open source basis. DBMS is Postgre. Every instance is supported by two replicas, synchronous and asynchronous. Here you can see the general scheme. The system should be very fast, fault-tolerant, and it should help people to search messages fast. It's possible to conduct search by text or other parameters. The application is written on Java. It can be replicated to many servers. For Postgre, we wrote our shorting because we need scaling out. Unlike NoSQL, it's not available out of box for Postgres. You can find an article about it on Harbor. Now we have dozens of thousands of active users. These are both people and robots. And robots generate much more traffic than live people. Hundreds of thousands messages per day are conducted. We process several thousand transactions per second in our center. I guess I've said everything about 1C and Postgre. Thank you. You can ask me questions, and I will be present on Roundtable. Hello. Regarding the previous slide, I have a question. Everyone works in mobile application, and do you have an application for a mobile phone? The system of interaction for mobile phone, yes, the new technology that is mobile client. that has a live connection with server. This application is integrated in the interaction system, and if you have smartwatch, you can get a message from interaction system not only on your cell phone but also on your watch. So it will be possible for a person to respond to a business query faster, but it would be interesting for me to know some details. I want to comment on it. Interaction server is available in perimeter, not only in online mode, but also in perimeter. Well, yes, about 6 months. Hello, Vasily Puchkov at TSK. We were faced with a problem once he doesn't want to support the main identification with Postgres. The same machine has DBC and it is connected, but Postgres is not connected. We wrote a message to support service and they said that we can specify this issue in documentation. Is it possible to do anything about it? Do you have an access to our partners forum? On the forum, this issue was raised or not? No, we only wrote to support service. You can raise this issue on the forum, and if there are a lot of queries or if there is a request from major customers, they will respond because it's really strange. Yes, I understand that. The last question, colleagues, we will have a round table. Please write down your questions. Access for non-standard port, that's also an interesting subject. On this slide, there are two replicas, synchronous and asynchronous. The question is, does 1C support the mode of working with database multi-master when recording is conducted for two services of DBMS? This scheme is about the product of interaction system, so this is a product provided by 1C system, but that is not 1C enterprise on which business applications are written. If we speak about business application, multi-master is not supported yet. Thank you, Peter. So they frequently speak about multi-master, you know. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, colleagues. Peter stays here. Yes, thank you.